What's up YouTube, it's your boy Mr.Senpai aka Sen, and welcome to Senpai's Reviews, where we'll be diving into the latest games, animes, and shows in an effort to let you know if your time and money is worth spending on it. Today we'll be getting into a game called Little Nightmares 2, a prequel to Little Nightmares 1. Little Nightmares 2 is a horror adventure puzzle platform game developed by Tossier Studios and published by none other than Bandai Namco Entertainment. Back at it again, Bandai, huh? Well, we'll be judging this game by the following categories: story, graphics, price value, game mechanics, and fun factor. And of course, by the end of this review, we'll give an overall rating of the game and leave you with our opinion on whether this game is worth all the fuss or not. So sit tight and let's start with the story. So Little Nightmares 2 is about a boy named Mono. He arrives in the world via television with a paper bag on his head and 100% ready for his peculiar adventure. He eventually meets a little girl called Six, who's the main protagonist in the first Little Nightmares game, but is now a computer-controlled AI #sidekick throughout Little Nightmares 2. Both parties fight and run, with a heavy emphasis on run, from their bigger and more dangerous counterparts. Now, I've played this game in full, and definitely go check that out if you haven't already, wink wink, and I still can't decide on whether these counterparts are human or not. As you go throughout the game, you'll see different variations of these people, and they seem humanoid, but certainly not all there. Nonetheless, Mono and Six enter what's known as the Pale City in hopes of survival. Now, after playing through both Little Nightmares games, I've come to the conclusion that you can actually play Little Nightmares 2 without having to have played the first one. Now, I know, that sounds crazy, but hear me out. Little Nightmares 1 is all about Six's adventure in the mall, a place much like the Pale City, with Six fighting and running for her life. But that story doesn't impact what happens much in Little Nightmares 2. The biggest things I can see that connects both games is the clear hatred Six shows towards these creatures, as it's clearly seen throughout the game. But other than that, I believe it's safe to proceed without thinking you're missing out on the first one. Now, the major con I have with this game is the complete lack of information on Six and Mono in general. For those first timers of the series, playing a game like this from start to end with no knowledge of your character's backgrounds might be kind of strange. It could even throw you off a little. I mean, shoot, even their names are not revealed throughout the entirety of the game. We had to learn that one from the developers. Crazy concept, I say, crazy concept. But besides that, the in-game story definitely offers a lot and certainly keeps you looking for more. It constantly keeps you wondering on how and what and why, with a major open mouth shock at the very end. So that's as much as I can reveal without showing or revealing any major spoilers. But with that, I have to give Little Nightmares a solid 4 out of 5 stars for the story. Well done. Now, as for the graphics, Little Nightmares is your 3D version of a typical platform game. If I can even call it 3D. It feels more like it's 2.5D, but nonetheless the environment is aesthetically pleasing. Essentially, Little Nightmares is just a 2.5D semi-realistic cartoon drawing with lots and lots of pretty sick visuals all throughout the game. Whether it's the swaying buildings, the dirty streets, or even the bluish purplish sky, the visuals always leaves me at awe, even if it's semi-two-dimensional. Now, the visuals really hit when you're actively playing the game, as the soundtrack tends to give the graphics that extra kick to set it apart from other games, especially when you see scenes like this. Look at this, man. This is huge. The visuals in this game is just amazing. Not to mention, the colors seem to have the perfect fit of vibrance and moodiness when it needs to be. It certainly does complete the feel of the environment. Thus far, the only platform game that I believe can contest with Little Nightmares graphics is probably a game called Inside, as that game is pretty good looking. And so, with that, Little Nightmares graphics will receive a top of the lot in 5 out of 5 stars. Nice. Moving on to the price value, Little Nightmares 2 price tag seems to be fairly reasonable. Upon release, Little Nightmares 2 came gift wrapped with a $30 price tag, and for a game like this, that's not bad at all. As mentioned before, the artwork, visuals, and even all the creativity put into the puzzles of this game was quite captivating, and I can definitely see the overall value of the game. If we compare this with some of the other high-end PC platform games right now, such as Inside, Cuphead, and A Hat in Time, we can see that Little Nightmares falls right within those expected price points. Now, Little Nightmares is a 100% single-player game with no DLC components at this time, which means you'll play it once and that's the end of that. Thus, Little Nightmares 2 price value is rated 4 out of 5 stars. Now, Little Nightmares game mechanics is very straightforward. You can either hook up a controller or play with a keyboard, although Little Nightmares does state that playing with a controller is highly recommended, and playing the game myself, I'd recommend you do the same, as the movement capabilities are so much more convenient with the controller. You have the standard analog stick as your movement, triangle/Y for calling 6, square/X for running, circle B for using certain items you get throughout the game, X and A for jumping, left trigger for crouching, and right trigger for interacting with the world around you. I personally played on a PlayStation controller, so I'll be approaching the remainder of the gameplay review from that perspective. Now, the controls in the game are okay. It's not super impressive, and there's one main reason why. The unholy R2 button. In this game, you'll be finding ways to continue your journey at all costs. This includes swinging from ropes, picking up and throwing items, and dragging items across the room. All these components require that annoying R2 trigger that seems to have a mind of its own sometimes. I can't even imagine the amount of times I climbed a ladder and randomly fell all while holding the button. It honestly got so bad that I had to ask a friend if he struggled with it, and he had the same problem. Clearly something's fishy going on here, and maybe just a lack of understanding behind the right trigger, but it is what it is. But besides that, everything control-wise worked as expected, and the puzzles behind the game were awesome as well. I found them to be engaging and definitely kept the game interesting. Although similar puzzles are used throughout the game, it never seemed to be overused. Everything just fits and kept the game moving smoothly. In my opinion, the environmental interactions is likely the highlight of this game, as it's different in each level you play and has some interesting effects to them. 6, the side character that follows you around most of the game, is pretty useful herself. She'll help you get across bridges and reach ledges you wouldn't reach on your own. But do be warned, in all her interactions, you and that R2 button are going to fight, so stay vigilant. And with that, Little Nightmares 2 gameplay receives a 3 out of 5 stars. Now the question on everybody's mind, was the game actually worth getting and playing? And the answer to that one is yes, it definitely is. Little Nightmares 2 was an awesome experience that always kept me engaged and always on my toes. Its creative puzzles and weird looking humanoid monsters was an interesting touch, and I loved the Momo and 6 tag team duo concept the game brought. The level bosses were also kind of spooky and awesome to fight, and even funner to run from. There's also a neat Easter egg of the game that allows you to collect hats for Mono to wear, which I personally didn't find them all, but the ones I did find I surely wore throughout the entire game. If you're looking for a game that'll make you grow attachments to the protagonist, challenge your inner Tomb Raider abilities to solve puzzles, and run for your dear life on a drop of a dime, then Little Nightmares 2 is definitely a game for you. Little Nightmares 2 receives a 5 out of 5 for fun factor. And there you have it, folks. Little Nightmares 2 receives a overall score of 4 out of 5 stars. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like on it, and while you're down there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Definitely let me know what you think about Little Nightmares in the comment section below, and I'll see y'all next time.